Hello everyone, with the Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Saturday evening, July 20, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak of Atlantic hurricane season, that's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the has been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at the tropical storm origins for the time period for July 11 to July 20. Considering that today is July 20, we can see these red dots showing where we've had tropical storms form in the Atlantic and the Eastern Pacific. But now we're moving on to July 21 to July 31, and we can see that it is becoming widespread. Portion of the southwestern Atlantic, the Gulf of Mexico, a lot of dots representing where tropical systems are formed in the Eastern Pacific. And we see that it is even more extended across the main development region into the Caribbean. And we know that the tracks still coming in from the main development region across the Caribbean into the Gulf of Mexico, and the tracks can also curve earlier before the Greater Antilles into portions of the Bahamas, the Turks and Caicos, as well as into the portion of the eastern United States right there. And we know that we still have a lot of very warm ocean waters. This map is showing the sea surface temperatures, basically the skin of the ocean. And we can see a lot of warm water right here across the Atlantic basin, which explains why the season is expected to be way above normal. So even although we had barrel already, the waters are still warm. We can still see that although it took a shock, something like this, the waters haven't even cooled off that much. It doesn't even show like that. And the waters are warm at a great depth as well. This map is showing the ocean heat content, showing how warm the waters are the deeper we go into the ocean. And we can see the warmest waters right there around Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, right there to the south of Cuba, to the east of the Yucatan Peninsula. So if there's supposed to be a tropical system that should be stalled out across the central to the western Caribbean, it will not be affected by the skin of the ocean and the upwelling that takes place, cooling off the waters, because it still has a lot of very warm water to work with. And the fact that we are getting more into La Nina territory, where we have the cooling of the central to the eastern Pacific Ocean, so we won't have much thunderstorms forming and thus causing wind shear across the Caribbean, tearing the tops of these thunderstorms off. La Nina is basically setting the stage, shutting down the eastern Pacific in general, and lighting up the Atlantic. So more storms are definitely in the forecast as we head into August, September, and October. And we know the drill is definitely going to be ramping up in August. We're in the month of July now. There's usually a lull in activity, especially considering that the Saharan dust peaks out during June, July especially, and early August. So it makes sense that right now it's a bit dead, not much tropical cyclone activity expected within the next 7 days, as we can see here by the U.S. National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook as of 7:11 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So it just came out a half hour ago, considering that it came out at 6:11 p.m. Jamaica time. Nothing expected within the next 7 days at all, but we know the drill. August, September, October is definitely going to be ramping up in activity. And we know our next name on the list. We've had Alberto, Beryl, Chris. So the next name is Debbie, then Ernesto, Francine, and hopefully we don't have to use the supplemental names on the list. We'll be highlighting more or talking more about the supplemental list in future videos, especially if we need that list, if we actually get to William. Hopefully we don't. On another note, let us talk about what's happening across the Western Pacific. So, although the Atlantic is dead right now, there is some activity occurring across this part of the world. We can see right here what seems to be a tropical storm. So, we see a lot of deep convection thunderstorms right here. We have the Philippines right here. We have Taiwan right here. We have China right here, and we have the southern Japanese islands right here. Well, southern Japan in general, the southern Japanese islands right here. And this system is expected to do something like this, a little curve towards the northwest, maybe into China, and then curve back out to sea, maybe to affect sections of Korea. So it could definitely be something bad for the Western Pacific, considering that it's been very quiet down there. It could do a number on these countries. The Philippines starting to get on some cloud cover, some rainfall across those spots. Already we see the central dense overcast associated with it, the deep convection, the high cold cloud tops as represented by the greens, yellows, oranges, reds, blacks, grays, purples. This is as bad as it gets. Any ships that are out to sea right now to the east of the Philippines definitely getting nailed as we speak. And this system is expected to strengthen to a possible category 4 hurricane. And just like we stated, the track is going to be to the north, then curve towards the northwest, then back out to sea to affect sections of the Philippines. And we can see some of these graphics taking it up to maybe major hurricane status. This map right here not showing much of the models going into China, but it's still something to watch. They're definitely going to be affected, especially considering how large the system is, already affecting portion of the Philippines, sections of Taiwan definitely going to be affected, and their actual hurricane forecast or projected path is, we see that it's a bit different from what the US National Hurricane Center shows, but it is definitely going to be within this region by the time we get to the 24th, maybe the 25th of July. So if you have relatives or friends in Taiwan, the Philippines, China, we know there are a lot of Jamaicans, there are a lot of Caribbean folks who have relatives in these countries who work there. Please ensure that you have them, informed about what is occurring. But as of right now, it is a tropical storm. The actual name attached to it, as we can see here, is Tropical Storm Gamey. Yes, I had to look up the pronunciation on Google Translate. So that's Gamey. That's the name of the system right now. It's just a tropical storm right now, but we know they can definitely cause a lot of flooding. And we know the next thing that is expected to become is a typhoon. As relates to the tropical cyclone categories across this part of the world, they actually become a severe tropical storm when they get up into the wind speed, then they become a typhoon. By the way, the Western Pacific is where the typhoons are located. It's basically the same as tropical storms and hurricanes. In the Eastern Pacific, the Central Pacific, and the Atlantic, they are called hurricanes. In the Southwestern Pacific near Australia, and in the Indian Ocean, they're called cyclones. So don't be confused saying, oh, this is a typhoon, this is something bigger than hurricanes or cyclones. No, it's basically the same thing with just a different name in different parts of the world. So we can see that it's possible that this system could become a super typhoon, packing maximum sustained winds of 220 kilometers per hour. And when calculated, that's about 136 miles per hour. So that's about the same as a category 4 hurricane. So it's definitely going to be a bad situation for those areas, especially if it maintains the strength and makes landfall. So ensure that you get in contact with your friends or relatives who lives in eastern China or Taiwan for that matter. On another note, let us take a look at the Atlantic tropical discussion from the Hurricane Center. As usual, they're still highlighting, even although they don't have anything on the 7-day outlook, they're still highlighting numerous tropical waves, a tropical wave across the eastern tropical Atlantic, another tropical wave across the central Caribbean. And they've even mentioned Jamaica right here. It is near Jamaica into the eastern portions of Panama. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are occurring between Jamaica and eastern Cuba. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images, well, if we take a look at the surface map, we can see it being represented, the tropical wave right here, right over Jamaica, and little trough right here across the southern Bahamas, another trough right here across the northern portion of the main development region, another one to the east of there, and we have that eastern Atlantic tropical wave right here to the west of the Cabo Verde Islands. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can see the clouds associated with that tropical wave. Remember, yesterday it was more over this side, closer to the northeastern and eastern Caribbean. It has pushed westward, and it definitely brought some rainfall to sections of Jamaica today, sections of southeastern Cuba, the southern Bahamas, sections of the Turks and Caicos, Haiti, Dominican Republic definitely gotten on some thunderstorm activity today, maybe even some flash flooding taking place. And we can see a lot of clouds across portions of Central America, and we can also see the clouds associated with that other tropical wave right there to the west of the Cabo Verde Islands. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Saturday, July 20. It was stated that I would have received some morning rainfall across sections of some eastern parishes in Jamaica, and then some of this rainfall would have affected sections of some central and western and especially northern parishes during Saturday afternoon. And just for reference, northern Jamaica, we're talking about those parishes on top, so Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. While eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, so Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. Central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, so St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. While western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, so St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, and Trelawney. And what ended up happening? As early as 7:30 a.m., the Cuban Doppler radar images were posted, and they highlighted the greens and yellows that represent some moderate to heavy rainfall coming into where sections of some eastern parishes, so definitely sections of St. Thomas, Portland got nailed. Some of this even spilled into portions of St. Mary's, Kingston, St. Andrew, even sections of St. Catherine, as reported by one of our followers in the inbox. So that indeed confirms the rainfall for the morning. Then as the clouds pushed from east-west, we saw some of these clouds bring some isolated thunderstorm activity into portions of Clarendon, Manchester, and St. Elizabeth, as another post was made here on our Twitter page showing the 10:55 a.m. visible satellite images. By the way, these posts aren't only made here on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica, but they're also made on our Instagram page at weather.jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. And we can see the final post that was made highlighted what was taking place during the afternoon. The 1:45 imagery showed that we still had a lot of clouds bring some overcast skies to section of the island, but we had the thunderstorms affecting sections of St. Thomas and Portland still, and we also had the thunderstorms across sections of St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland, Northwestern, St. Elizabeth as well. And we definitely have confirmation from some of our followers. One right here from our Twitter page. Them still a scam was stating heavy rains in Bull Bay. No, that was about 10 hours ago. That was what, 8:44 a.m. Then we had Dreeny RJ stating indeed Porty getting its face washed, and that was about 7:33 a.m. this morning when the rain was affecting eastern Jamaica just as predicted. Then we had Hewlett McLeod stating heavy rain from after 12 today in Westmoreland. This was posted 3 hours ago at 3:45 p.m. So they were definitely getting nailed during the afternoon just as predicted. And even right here we have TG Minidal stating it's been raining in Mobay 4 hours ago. Even on our TikTok page we had a comment coming in. Lakeisha Wiggins, it's already raining here in Dalby, St. Thomas, and that was 9 hours ago. That was about in the morning when it was affecting eastern Jamaica. Unfortunately, much of it did not affect the corporate area, even although I got a report of it raining slightly in Vineyard Town in East Kingston. But At about 9:53 a.m., the city view of See Jamaica's YouTube channel live stream. By the way, we have a partnership with this channel. They actually show live streams of the corporate area. So if you'd like to see a lot more of this, this is showing the city view. They also have Crossroads, Halfway Tree, and they also have the Bagwalk Gorge, even the Kingston Harbor. But at that time, 9:54 a.m., not much was taking place. It was just cloudier than anything else. But if we take a look at the latest images as of 6:58 p.m., considering that it's 6:59 p.m. right now, so it's what, 1 minute behind, we can see that there's nothing taking place. This is the Kingston Harbor Cam looking to the north, and we don't see much taking place right now. The sun is setting, clouds are still in the sky, I'm sure, but there's nothing taking place across Kingston. If we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down, we can definitely see the low level patches of clouds pushing from east to west. We even had some slight afternoon or late afternoon slight thunderstorms across section of Trelawney, St. James, and we can even still see some thunderstorms lashing the waters to the north of Portland and St. Mary, but most of it is starting to clear out across the island as we speak, and we can see it all even better on the infrared satellite images that show the clouds dying out. But look at that, the latest satellite images, the infrared satellite images at that, are showing some bursts of thunderstorms as we speak across section of Trelawney, Western St. Anne right there. We can also see some thunderstorms affecting section of Portland. So even as we speak, the latest images are showing that we're still getting nailed by some amount of thunderstorms. This is as of the latest image. This is as of 23:45 UTC, which is 45 minutes past the hour. So this was as of 15 minutes ago, and there should be another one that comes out in the next 2 minutes showing 6:55 p.m. So as we speak, section of Trelawney, Western St. Anne, section of Portland definitely getting in on some thunderstorm activity, and we can see it all being represented on the latest Cuban Doppler radar images. So this is showing what, 8 p.m. So it already came out 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 7 p.m. Jamaica time. And if we take a close look, we can see the rainfall that's affecting portions of Portland, spilling into section of St. Mary right there, as represented by the yellows. The greens that represent moderate to heavy rainfall. And we're not seeing the rainfall that's affecting portions of Trelawney right now, but we can definitely see it on the satellite images. This very latest satellite image that is. So even if we don't see it on the Doppler radar image, we can see it on the satellite images, and there's definitely some thunderstorms affecting portion of northwestern Jamaica as we speak to the east of St. James. All courtesy of this tropical wave, and the tropical wave is definitely doing a number on the other countries. Southeastern Cuba definitely getting some rainfall. Section of Haiti getting some rainfall, as we can see here on the Guantanamo Bay Cuban Doppler radar that shows just Portland right here. You can see that rainfall affecting section of Portland, and we wish this radar showed a wider picture so that we could see most of Jamaica, but this is as far as it gets. So section of Haiti definitely getting in on some amount of rainfall, especially the waters to the west of Haiti as we speak. If we take a look at the Cayman radar, I don't see much taking place. Most of the rainfall is across section of Cuba, and some isolated showers, hit or miss isolated showers to the south of the Cayman Islands. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see we have 27 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. And by about 4 a.m. on Sunday, temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 26 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is showing 18Z on Sunday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Sunday, and we can see Jamaica right here, embedded in some slight yellows and some gold colors that we can see by the key on the right that represents 1 to 2 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. I know the normal temperatures for the month of July are about 91 degrees Fahrenheit. When we take a look at the thermometer, 91 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 32.7 degrees Celsius when calculated. So we should be receiving anywhere from 32 to 34 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on a Sunday. So it's definitely going to be a bit hot, so ensure that you stay out of the sun and you stay hydrated. And not only that, But the Saharan dust is definitely coming. This is the forecast for the Saharan air layer for 2 p.m. on Sunday. And look at these dark shades of browns that we don't want to see at all, stretching all the way from the Windward Islands into portions of the Dominican Republic, the southern Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, eastern Cuba, and Jamaica is right here. And we're definitely going to be getting in on the hazy skies associated with the Saharan dust. So the skies won't be looking as blue, and this could definitely trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses in some persons, whether it be asthma, sinusitis. So please ensure that you have your meds handy. As it relates to the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see the highest waves associated with the tropical wave should be to the south of Jamaica, to the south of Haiti, as represented by these purples. They represent up to 2 to 3 meter wave heights, while the rest of the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean should be getting on those lighter shades of blues to darker shades of blues that represent anywhere from 0.5 meter wave height to 1.5 meter wave heights. And that's because the winds are going to be strongest right there to the south of Jamaica, to the south of Haiti, where we see these yellows and gold colors that represents 25 to 30 knot winds. While we have the duller greens and blues and the bright greens that represents anywhere from 5 to 10 to 15 up to 20 knot winds. And we can see the general direction for these winds coming in from the east across the Caribbean. But if we take a look at the close-up of Jamaica, we can definitely see the strongest winds should be across, especially the waters to the south of the island, where we see these yellows and these brighter greens. We could get in on some strong winds across the north as well. But look at where we have the least amount of winds. Maybe a section of some northern and western parishes. As a matter of fact, in yesterday's forecast, there was a battle between the GFS and the Euro, because the GFS was showing more of that air piling up across northern and western Jamaica. The Euro was showing more of that air piling up across central and western Jamaica. And we saw that what took place today, more of the rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes in Jamaica. But look at what's happening right now with the thunderstorms affecting sections of northern parishes. So I guess it's going to be something similar. Both the Euro and the GFS models are having a bit disagreement again. Air piling up again across central and western Jamaica, and the Euro. GFS air piling up again across northern and western Jamaica. Either way, there's gonna be rainfall tomorrow. Eastern Jamaica, as usual, with all of the rainfall coming off of the sea to affect sections of St. Thomas and Portland. Then it could spill into sections of the central and western portions of the island during the afternoon. GFS more so northern and western parishes. We'll see exactly how that unfolds. Either way, the Euro won today. The GFS is winning right now, especially with the latest images. As a matter of fact, let's reload it, because we should have the latest images as of right now. Well, 55 minutes past the hour. Alright, here we have it. Still having some thunderstorms affecting sections of Portland, section of Trelawney as we speak. But as it relates to what is being expected for tomorrow, we can see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus that we still have some blues that represent rainfall, where across eastern Jamaica, Portland, St. Thomas, and this is valid for 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on both the Euro and the GFS models, which is actually 10 p.m. Jamaica time. And I guess we could say that we're already getting on that rainfall that Portland is scheduled to receive. Section of North Coast as well, maybe even intersection of what southern Clarendon too, with some of the blues that represent rainfall. But that's just on the Euro. GFS not that robust with those areas, more so the east than anything else. If we actually look forward in time to about 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 6 a.m. Jamaica time on Sunday, where do we see the blues that represent rainfall across sections of some southern and eastern parishes. So we have the consensus, some morning rainfall for eastern Jamaica more than anything else. Then look at that, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 9 a.m. Jamaica time, we start to see some differences. Yes, we see the consensus for rainfall in eastern Jamaica still on the GFS, Portland, St. Thomas. But look at the Euro, showing more of the blues that represent rainfall across sections of central Jamaica, even some dark blues and greens in there. And even if we skip ahead, we still see the Euro a bit more, well, not even a bit more, a lot more robust than the GFS. Look at what the Euro is showing. It's going to be interesting to see what unfolds. We see blues that represent rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes, more so across northern Jamaica than anything else, with all of these dark blues, greens, yellows, oranges, pinks. It represents a lot of rainfall. And this is valid for 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's actually 1 p.m. Jamaica time. The GFS not that robust. Yes, it shows rainfall across eastern Jamaica, but more of the rainfall in the afternoon for that time for northern and western Jamaica. So it's gonna be the battles again. We can rule out some rainfall for sections of some southern parishes, some central and western parishes in Jamaica, just like what happened today. But clearly, both of them are in consensus that the most in the way of rainfall should be across northern Jamaica. So I guess eastern, central, western Jamaica again should be in the forecast for rainfall, with the brunt of the rainfall on the north coast, just like the same prediction that was made in yesterday's video. And we can see that both the Euro and the GFS accumulated precipitation forecast maps are in consensus with the rainfall that's expected. Somewhere across the island, there's gonna be rainfall tomorrow. GFS showing up to what? We see some reds in there, so that could be up to 1 inch of rainfall or more, especially across eastern portion of Portland and St. Thomas. GFS something similar with the Euro. We can see the consensus, but the Euro is showing more of the heaviest rainfall, or the most in the way of rainfall across northern Jamaica, just like what we saw on the other maps just now. So it makes sense, up to 1 inch or more, and we'll take it. We're in the month of July. We usually receive less rainfall during this month. We usually receive less tropical activity during this month. So it all makes sense that the Atlantic is even dead right now. Kingston's bar graph at the top showing up to 50 millimeters of rainfall during this month. Montego Bay's bar graph at the bottom showing up to 3.1 or 3.2 inches of rainfall during July. So we'll take all the rainfall that we can get, because we know that we cannot stand the heat at all. And if you'd like to see your specific parish, you can visit weatherandclimate.com. And if you don't know how it really works out in terms of inches and millimeters, there's a nice graphic right here. We know 1 inch of rainfall represents 25 millimeters, 2 inches of rainfall represents up to 50 millimeters of rainfall. So you can do the math yourself about your specific area. Alright, so that is it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as usual, we have some clouds bringing some thunderstorm activity across sections of Suriname, Guyana, sections of Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize, sections of the Yucatan Peninsula. We can also see some of the clouds bring some thunderstorms to sections of the southern Bahamas, Cuba, Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic, the Turks and Caicos getting in on the action. And we can also see sections of the southern Windward Islands getting in on some rainfall. So anywhere to the south of Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago definitely getting in on some rainfall as we speak. If we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, we can definitely see that there's not much taking place as we speak. But if we put these images into motion, we can definitely see the leftover rainfall from the tropical wave into portions of the Dominican Republic today. Section of northwestern Puerto Rico might have gotten in on some isolated thundershower activity. If we take a look at the Barbados radar, not seeing much right now. The tropical wave has definitely moved out. We can see that flow of some isolated showers from the northeast, maybe to affect sections of Martinique, St. Lucia later on tonight. Who knows, maybe it might even make it as far south as St. Vincent or Barbados as well later on. If we take a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see that rainfall that section of southern Cuba got, section of the Yucatan Peninsula, Guatemala. We even heard of some flooding taking place in Guatemala recently. Section of Belize, Honduras, associated with the tropical wave. And we can also see the isolated shore activity across sections of Colombia, section of French Guiana as well. But as relates to what's expected within the next 24 hours, keep in mind that both of these maps, from the Euro right here and the GFS right here, are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Sunday. We know the greens and the yellows represent the least amount of rainfall, more so isolated shores than anything else, while the gold colors or orange colors and the red colors represent what? Close to 1 inch, if not an inch or more of rainfall. The burgundy colors or the dark red colors represent what? 2 inches of rainfall. The purples represent up to 3 inches of rainfall. We can see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus that there's going to be some rainfall expected within the next 24 hours for sections of Florida, Cuba, the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, Haiti, sections of the Dominican Republic, more so the southern and western or northwestern Dominican Republic than anything else. We can also see some isolated showers still in the forecast for sections of Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Barbados, section of Trinidad and Tobago, French Guiana, Suriname, Guyana, Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica. We can also see even more rainfall in store for right there across southeastern Venezuela with the purples, even section of Cuba getting on the mix, section of Costa Rica, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Honduras, section of Guatemala, Belize still to be getting some more rainfall, the Yucatan Peninsula, and even sections of the Cayman Islands right there. And we know that when both maps from the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.